Oh, do I feel good today. What's up, everybody? It is Sunday, October 8th, 2023. This is the Early Edge, Week 5 of the National Football League. And right now, if you got up early to watch this Bills-Jags games, I'm sorry. What an awful game. 11-7 in the fourth quarter. We'll keep an eye on that as we get you set for every single 1 o'clock game today, every single 4 o'clock game today. And then do not forget, tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, it's prime time Early Edge with perhaps the best Sunday night football game of the entire season. It's the Cowboys and the 49ers. Tonight will be live at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, as many of you know, I have the best crew in the business. Let's bring in the stars of the show because you know them and you love them. And here we go. Oh, an embarrassment of riches. Proppy is here. Phillies? Are you serious with the Phillies, Proppy? Your thoughts? 10 seconds.
Very impressive, Coach. These Phillies are battle-tested. Bryce Harper, he's a grown man.
A grown man. Counselor of Cassie Nejad. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Good afternoon. Bryce Harper was once a national, and we gave him over to Philadelphia. Not the smartest move in the world.
5 years in, and he has become a stalwart for those Phillies. And then our main man who does everything college and the NFL, our 5-tool player, AB. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Coach. Proppy, see ya, everyone in the Early Edge crew. A fantastic college football Saturday we had. And also, I'd like to note an excellent haircut that Sia has. That's nice.
Oh, very nice and very, very clean. By the way, we were 15-11 yesterday. And for those of you who aren't aware of the new schedule, because of our mega preview on Wednesday, we're basically just going to run that back Saturday morning. We don't want to waste man hours and people's time to basically duplicate that. And then on Sundays, no more 10 a.m. show just during the NFL season, just during the football season. We'll still have the noon show, this show, and, of course, 7:30 at night. So, gentlemen, let's jump right in because we got a lot of, I think, good, fascinating games today. Game number 1, and maybe a few weeks ago, we would have said blah. But the Houston Texans starting to show up a little bit. But the Atlanta Falcons hosting today, laying 2.5. Uncle Dave from our prop show on Friday is on Jonnu Smith, over 30.5 receiving yards. And also Desmond Ridder to not throw a touchdown pass at all today. That's plus 190. So, Sia, let me start with you. You do like a side here. Which one?
Yeah, I put this on SportsLine a little while ago. I really like the Falcons here. I mean, I've been on the Falcons all year, and it's partly predicated on the fact that they really reinforced their defense. It was a bad defense last year. It's not a great defense now, but it's much better, especially in the secondary. I bring up the secondary specifically because I really think that's how you beat the Houston Texans is you limit what C.J. Stroud is doing with Tank Dell, with Nico Collins. They have the reinforcements in the secondary. They've got Jesse Bates, Okudah, A.J. Terrell. Like, I don't think they're going to shut down the Texans, but I think they're going to limit the Texans' passing game. The running game for the Texans hasn't been very efficient. And, oh, by the way, Bijan Robinson, he really hasn't had that breakout game, that multiple touchdown game with, a ton of yards. He's had a lot of yards, a lot of usage. I do think this is a Bijan game. And I think Desmond Ridder, he might not throw a touchdown pass. I don't really think it matters. I think this is run the ball, stop them on defense, a fairly low-ish scoring game. Give me the Falcons here, money line.
All right. I tend to disagree slightly, but certainly not enough to call you out on a showdown. I would never do that with the counselor. However, Proppy, Lori in the chat says Stroud is on fire, and he's been much better as a rookie than what we thought. Yes?
It's been phenomenal. He has the highest passer rating in a clean pocket of any quarterback in the NFL, top 10 in nearly every single passing metric. One thing I wanted to piggyback on when Sia pointed out this Falcons defense, they're first in EPA allowed per rush. That is very, very impressive. I do think they're a little bit of a paper tiger in the sense that they've had an easy schedule against opposing running backs, but can't argue with that. They're doing well against who they're playing against. The Falcons defense has definitely been solid, definitely been legitimate. I hate disagreeing with my cousin Sia, Coach. I rarely do it, but I do like the Texans quite a bit today. I know this is a spot where the Falcons hypothetically need this win more, but this Texans team has been so impressive. They're so well coached. C.J. Stroud is playing such good football. I have a lot more confidence in him than I do in Desmond Ridder, who I really feel this could be his last start of the season, or at least until if Taylor Heineke gets hurt or doesn't play well.
How much do you like the Texans today?
Probably enough where I was very, very close to making them an official pick. And I don't put a lot of sides on the show.
All right, marinate on that one. We still have a few minutes because, we until the show's over, we still got plenty of time. Now, AB, I'll let Proppy marinate on the Texans and a showdown for a second. But when you look at this game, I tend to lean towards the analysis of Proppy, but only because I'm always one of those guys that just looks at last week instead of at the whole thing. What do you make of the whole thing?
Yeah, you take a look at the Houston Texans here. Whenever you're playing against the Atlanta Falcons, the key is getting up early and forcing them to essentially have to abandon the run game and throw because really they can't do it, right? But their defense is really good, so that's the battle, right? Now, you kind of have a perfect team in Houston that can do that because CJ Stroud is not only getting better week to week, but if you watch their offense, they're throwing on first down and throwing ahead of the sticks so that not only are they not finding themselves in third and longs, they're not even finding themselves on third down. Like it's first down, second down, first down, second down. They keep doing it down the field because you know what? It's the most dangerous thing in sports. They have nothing to lose, right? So the battle here is, can Houston get up on Atlanta and force them to play the pass game instead of the run game? And if they do, Atlanta's in trouble, man. And Houston's offensive line is getting healthier by the week. Look out, man. This team they're not as bad as we thought that they would be.
All right, we'll keep it's kind of a litmus test today for, I think, both teams as well. And by the way, a perfect example of when you guys act like we play the games, you're like, what is going on with the Bills today? They're playing down. Yes, but we're not out there playing. So next time you want to tweet us and go, Coach, that Bills pick stunk. We watched it together in real time. We don't throw the passes. Just sometimes Josh Allen stinks. And today is one of those days. Awful, awful, awful. Speaking of awful, the Panthers have not been good this year. But flip side, the Detroit Lions, we haven't seen them in 11 days. The last time we saw them, gentlemen, they were laying out the Packers in Lambeau and scoring 34 in the process. So today they come back home. They're 3-1. They're feeling good. They're laying 9.5 over the Panthers, total 43.5. The Maestro loves the Lions when it was at 8.5 earlier in the week, and Uncle Dave is on Miles Sanders under his combo line of 59.5. So Proppy, let's start right there with the props in this game. Anything to marinate on, because on paper, this looks like a mismatch.
It is a mismatch on paper. I do like the Panthers a little bit in this spot, backs against the wall. The Lions are missing quite a few players. Amon-Ra St. Brown, their leading receiver, is going to be inactive in this game. Jahmyr Gibbs, their 12th overall pick, sensational rookie running back, is going to be inactive in this game. Jameson Williams, last year's 12th overall pick, will be making his debut, likely be on a snap count. But yeah, this is going to be a lot of David Montgomery today. He is going to get a massive workload against this Panthers rush defense that has not been very good. The Panthers pass defense has been solid. I just think there'll be limited passing volume in this game from Jared Goff. As far as the Panthers offense is concerned, Bryce Young, this Detroit rush defense is excellent. So it's a tough matchup for Bryce Young and company because they do try to run the football quite a bit in Carolina. I really like Dave's fade of Miles Sanders. This Detroit run defense has been excellent so far this season. I do think we could see a healthy dose of Adam Thielen today, like attacking him again from a volume-based approach like we did last week, over 4.5 receptions. So those are some props I have my eyes on. I do think this is going to be a really low-scoring game. Really like the under in this game, actually, Coach.
And for anybody who's a SportsLine member, Adam Thielen is a play by one of our cappers. We have like 10 or 11 plays on almost every single game if you go into the game. And
Mike Barner, I believe, Coach.
What's that?
Mike Barner has him, I believe, Coach.
There you go. Mikey B has him. Thank you very much, Proppy. Now, see, let me come to you. Because the Lions, this is the type of game that if they want to be taken seriously as a contender in the NFC, when you got the 49ers and the Eagles sitting there, you've got to dominate on days like today. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's interesting. Tom from Pittsburgh says, why did the Lions line not move when those inactives were announced? It's actually a really good question, and it's kind of why I like Carolina here at 9.5. This is one of those situations where, no, I'm not a believer in Bryce Young, at least not yet. But at a certain point, you have to realize that when your best target and one of your most dynamic players, I'm talking about Amon-Ra and Jahmyr Gibbs, are out. Now, I don't care how good your defense is. 9.5 is just too many. So, listen, I think Detroit is for real when they're healthy. I think they can kind of contend in the NFC when they're healthy. But this isn't when they're healthy. I mean, I think I got to take Carolina here.
All right, AB, very good analysis. And Proppy shaking his head. Your thoughts?
Yeah, look, I think that this game is a great candidate to play an under in. All right, if you're the Detroit Lions and you are Dan Campbell. All right, coach, imagine yourself. You show up, you have a show today. All right. See ya. Inactive. Props. Inactive. I'm inactive. Snake's inactive, right? What you're thinking in your head is, okay, I need to just get through this show, do it as best I can, and be done with it, right? That's exactly what the Lions are going to do. They're not looking at spreads and lines, but what they're doing is going to say, all right, we are just going to eat possessions. We are going to eat clock, control the game, the pace, and the lead, and get the hell out of here. That's exactly what the Lions are going to do. This is a great candidate game to play an under because with the Panthers, they want to run the football. They're not going to be able to. They'll be able to throw a little bit, but even still, Bryce Young, his passing is 8 yards and in. So it's going to take so many consecutive completions. There's going to be a lot of punts. This is a great punt game. Great punt game.
Great punt game. Probably go.
Yeah, they both, Sia and AB, killed the analysis here. I couldn't agree more with both their takes. Did want to point out really quickly, as far as this game is concerned, love the under in this game. I do think it's going to be really low scoring. I think it's just going to be a heavy concentrated dose of David Montgomery. Austin Eckler has an interview up right now where he talks about why Jahmyr Gibbs isn't getting touches in Detroit's offense. It's a fantastic. You can find it on Twitter. Highly recommend watching it. Just talks about the differences between a 5-year veteran running back and a rookie running back and why Gibbs' role should grow as the season progresses. Check it out on Twitter.
Dive deep, ladies and gentlemen. Hashtag educate and entertain. Knowledge is power. Let's go. Now, this next game is one of the fascinating games that I was talking about because 2 weeks ago, the Colts looked amazing. Anthony Richardson against the Rams, and then they lose in overtime. But today, they're at home against the Titans team that they have multiple personalities. Browns, they can't score a touchdown. Last week, they just lay out the Bengals. Who are you, Tennessee? Who are you? Now, I'll tell you, EC thinks that Michael Pittman is the guy today, over 58.5 receiving yards. Now, remember, some of these lines may be off. I'm giving it to you when we gave it out on the show, which is why you watch every show live. It's called the Early Edge for a reason. Uncle Dave's on DeAndre Hopkins, over 54.5 receiving yards, minus 115. Nobody knows Tennessee, AB, better than you. Tell me how Tennessee, the way they've been playing, is laying 2.5 on the road in Indianapolis.
Yeah, Tennessee, specifically their offense, is built. If they can run the football, they're a tough team because they can play great defense. Mike Vrabel and that defensive front, specifically Jeffrey Simmons, our man. There's a few dudes on the defensive line that can get after you, right? But if they can't run the football and their offense becomes one-dimensional, that's where they get into trouble. The Colts actually have built their roster exactly like Tennessee for the last 3 years. Play defense, run the football. Jonathan Taylor just got paid. Here is the deal in this game, all right? It's going to be back and forth, back and forth. If you're looking for any type of prop, it's Anthony Richardson running the football because Tennessee's defense is all built on getting to the quarterback with their defensive line. But the way to negate that is a quarterback who can go around the side. Anthony Richardson's going to run for some yards today.
This dude is an absolute beast with his legs. His number is 43.5 currently, right around minus 105 is your juice if you're looking to play that. Proppy, on SportsLine, we have a play on Derrick Henry from Matty Severance, over 75.5 rushing yards. Last week, he went off in the first quarter. He's a player that has to get off to fast starts. Do you like Derrick Henry in that side today?
I love Derrick Henry. Yeah, I actually have him as a best bet in my article as well. So fully agree with Matt Severance there. I was very encouraged last week with Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is a notorious slow starter. You go back 3-4 seasons, the first couple of games, he looks like he's cooked out of gas. But last week looked like vintage Henry, had a 40-yard touchdown run, made a couple tacklers miss at the line of scrimmage, then outran the defense on the perimeter. Looked like very vintage Derrick Henry, plenty explosive. I think this is a game where they can have a lot of success on the ground. The Colts are giving up 125 rushing yards per game to opposing running backs. He has a phenomenal historical success against the Colts. 7 of his last 8 games against Indianapolis has gone north of 100 yards. So I think it's going to be a heavy dose of Derrick Henry today. I expect him to have a big game on the ground as well.
All right, I may have to play that, and you still have about 45 minutes to do so. Counselor, you're really good at looking through the weeds and figuring out who the real team is. In this game, who is the real team?
It's such a good question. And the line is very curious, right? It's in Indy, and the Titans, who have really only looked good last week. Maybe week one, they looked okay in a loss, but why are they favored by 2.5? This is one of those lines where I think people look at it and they're like, oh, I love Anthony Richardson. Oh, Jonathan Taylor's back. The receiver core is healthy. I must like the Colts here. I think that's why you got to be on the Titans here. And I do think it's what Proppy brought up. I do think Derrick Henry's going to be able to run the ball quite well. 122 yards last week against the Bengals, 22 carries. Remember, the fear for Derrick Henry a couple of weeks ago was, hey, maybe he's banged up a little bit. We're seeing a little bit too much Tyjae Spears on the field. And that was really, any fears like that were kind of quelled last week. I think it's going to be the Derrick Henry show. I do like D-Hop in this game. His yardage is fine, but I actually like his receptions too. And I agree. I think Anthony Richardson's going to have a game, but at the end of the day, this line is very curious to me. I'd be on the Titans.
See, according to Zach, Derrick Henry, 100-plus yards. If you ladder it, is plus 220. Would you do that?
I probably would not personally, but I don't hate it.
Okay.
Coach, real quick.
Let's go AB and then Proppy. AB, go.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to say two things. One, be careful of playing Derrick Henry rushing yards. I'm not saying don't do it, but what I am saying is that they will use him in the short passing game as well, and he could break those off really quickly. Those numbers are like receiving yards are like 9.5. They're generally very, very low. Number two, last year for the Titans, we always spoke about a tight end named Chig Okakwanku who would get the first pass in every game. This year, it's a wide receiver named Nick Westbrook-Akine who gets looks constantly on the first drives and in the first quarter. So if you're looking for a deep cut type player prop to ride, Nick Westbrook-Akine will get as many opportunities as possible, I assure you.
Very good. Probably go.
Derrick Henry's rushing line is set at 75.5, so you're looking for an additional 25 yards to only get plus 220 there. The juice isn't worth the squeeze, in my opinion, so I agree with Sia there. Also wanted to point out, love Derrick Henry in this spot, obviously. DeAndre Hopkins has been very good this season. The issue has been Ryan Tannehill, not DeAndre Hopkins, so I agree with Sia. I like that DeAndre Hopkins look quite a bit. He should have a lot of success in this matchup.
All right, very good. Really good analysis from all three guys. As they were giving that out, well, the Bills stink today. And I don't know if it's the trip. I don't know what it is, but they always play down to their competition. The same team who scored 48 a week ago has scored 7. And now the Jags just scored a touchdown. So pending the extra point, they're going to be down double digits with 7.5 to go.
Who scored, Coach?
Jaguars.
Etienne, I think.
ATN, 6-yard touchdown run. Yeah, ATN. Did you have him in your fantasy or anything?
No, I was just curious.
I do.
All right, AB.
You're probably playing buckets that he doesn't even know who's on his team, and he's kicking everybody's butt every single week. Now, speaking of kicking everybody's butt, before last week, that's exactly what the Dolphins were doing. And then they got waxed last week, big time, 48-20. Today, they're laying 13.5 against the Fighting Daniel Joneses and the New York Giants. Now, how do the Giants respond after last week's absolute embarrassment to the Seattle Seahawks at home? Well, both of my guys, AB and Proppy, have a best bet in this game. Proppy, let's start with you.
Yeah, I'm on Wan'Dale Robinson over 3.5 receptions. I recognize this is now 4.5 receptions. It was 3.5 when we originally gave this out. On Friday, I'd still play it at 4.5, honestly. Love this spot for Wan'Dale. Specifically, the Giants are going to be 11-point road dogs here. As a result of that, I think we're going to see Daniel Jones dropping back quite a lot. And then they are making a concentrated effort to get Wan'Dale Robinson the football. This is his third game after making his season debut 2 weeks ago. He has been a first read on 27% of his targets. That is a massive, massive number. 3.2 average depth of target. That is very low. That means those targets are coming close to the line of scrimmage where they have a high probability or high success rate of being completions. So I love approaching this specifically from a volume-based standpoint here, like we are over 4.5 receptions. I'd maybe scale down a half a unit at that number, though. Hopefully you got 3.5.
I did, because I watched the prop show on Friday when you give them out, or I read your article because I'm a SportsLine member. But if you are not, this is a great time to tell you. I'll do you a solid right here, right now. I'll give you 60% off a quarterly plan. Just use the promo code COACH. That's all you got to do. Download that QR code or go to sportline.com/join. 60% off your first 3 months. After that, you're playing with house money. Now, last week, AB, I felt like Daniel Jones was really showed up by Brian Daboll. I thought it was uncalled for. I thought all of the reaction was completely over the top. So Joe is already feeling it. We probably won't go that deep in the no-fly zone, but I have a feeling that you do not like Daniel Jones today.
Let me say this. I like Joe Everett way more than I like Daniel Jones, and that's why we're exactly playing Daniel Jones in the no-fly zone today. He's throwing a pick. You're telling me that Daniel Jones is going against the highest-scoring offense in the NFL. He's going to play from behind the entire game, and they not only don't have a run game, but wouldn't even be able to use it if they did. This is a perfect recipe for Daniel Jones to throw an interception. And here's the best part. Best part, he just got paid $40 million a year. He's not coming out of games because the owner is saying, you wanted that money. There you go, pal. You're going to finish that one every single week. Look, I kind of feel bad for the guy. I like Daniel Jones. I like Brian Daboll, but this team stinks. They're going to be playing from behind. He's a pick. I mean, you could go ahead and ladder interceptions in this game. Daniel Jones it's going to be a disaster. It's just going to be a disaster.
And that classic see a cloudy look from Daniel Jones when he comes off the field is like, how did that just happen? Whatever it is that happened, it also could be because a lot of points are going to be scored. Dan says Dolphins don't have a brake pedal today. The over 47.5 is the play. Your thoughts, Sia?
Over 47.5 for the game total?
Yes.
Well, I mean, honestly, I don't know why you'd look at the game total if you don't think Miami's going to take the foot off the gas. Take the Miami total naturally there because we don't know what the output's going to be for the New York Giants. So, Dan, I do like that. I don't think they're going to necessarily take their foot off the gas. And even when they do, they're better than the Giants. Like, that just means Mostert's going to break one for 50 yards or A-Chain's going to break one for 50 yards. I mean, I like the Dolphins here. It's a stay away for me. I think Daniel Jones is an interesting DFS option, believe it or not, just because he's going to be in so much garbage time and he's probably going to rush the ball. I do want to note the Wan'Dale Robinson thing. He's 3,000 in DFS, and I just want to point that out. But I also want to point out on Early Edge Primetime, I had his over 18.5 yards that I gave out live during the show because the line came out late, and I had a lot of people cash that ticket. So stay tuned for Early Edge Primetime tonight because we have our picks, but we also have our discussion, which leads to a lot more cash tickets.
Yeah, you have to tune in live. You just can't look at the recap screen and get fully immersed in what the Early Edge universe is all about. That was deep. It was really deep. But we also have to ask the question, where are you going to place these bets? Well, hundreds, and I do mean hundreds, not thousands now. I haven't checked in a couple of days, have signed up at BetMGM. And now new BetMGM customers can sign up today, right now, and get $200 in bonus bets. Just place your first wager of at least $10, and you will receive $200 instantly in bonus bets, regardless of your wager's outcome, with bonus code EDGE200. That's bonus code EDGE200. Now, next 1 o'clock game, we got 2 left, and then we have 4 at 4. I really like how the NFL spread the games out today. Can we do this every week, please? Please, 6 at 1, 4 at 4, then you got the 1 at 7:30. So, AB, you're the only one that has a best bet, and if I'm Mac Jones, my confidence is all the way on the floor right now. I don't know how you get up from this, but today, his Patriots career is on the line today. If he doesn't play well today, he will be benched, and I don't see how he comes back for that franchise. What do you have today on this game?
Yep, absolutely. Look, hey, Mac Jones, welcome back in to the no-fly zone. Look, it's Groundhog Day for this man. Now, Mac Jones is a decent quarterback at times, but the problem is that the Patriots offense, and speaking of our prime time at 7:30 p.m. breakdowns, we did this for the Patriots offense on said show a few weeks ago. The Patriots offense is built exactly like this. First down is key. They have to get 4 to 5 yards. Second down, 3 to 4 yards, and play third down and 1, third down and 2. All right, that's how this offense is built because they really don't go down the field. So as soon as that sequence is broken by, say, a holding call or just a run that's stifled, all hell breaks loose for the Patriots offense. That's why we're playing Mac Jones to throw an interception. And you look at the Saints defense, one of the best teams in the NFL at garnering turnovers, both in the air and fumbles on the ground. Yeah, man, like it's going to be a fun game, honestly. And the Patriots could win. Like, I'm not against them at all, but Mac Jones is throwing a pick. It's going to happen.
And their offense has been absolutely horrible. And see, as I come to you, the NFC South is a division that's been better than I think people think. Outside of Carolina at 8-4, the other three are at least 500, including the Saints team.
Yeah, I think the Saints are largely fraudulent. However, I think it's interesting that this line is what it is, given the troubles that the Patriots are having on offense and the fact that they lost their two best defenders last week in that blowout loss to the Dallas Cowboys. That'd be Judon and Gonzalez. This is a very curious line. It's a definite stay away for me, but I just don't believe in the Saints. I don't know where Derek Carr's game is right now, but it doesn't look great. But they do have enough weapons to win this game with Alvin Kamara back. Olave looks to be a little dinged up, but they still have Michael Thomas, Juwan Johnson out, but they still have Jimmy Graham. They've got enough, but it's not enough for me to actually put money on the Saints. I actually like Atlanta still to win this division, or Tampa Bay, not the New Orleans Saints.
I think you said it right. I literally went right past this game when I was preparing for the show, and I was looking at my bets today. I literally didn't look at it for 1 second. I always like when somebody comes in late to the show and they validate something that one of the three of you said, like Proppy. My man Smash says, hey, I got here late. Have we hammered the Montgomery rushes yet? Yes, we have, Smash. Yes, we have, because Proppy told us to. So, Proppy, in this particular game, however, what are your thoughts?
This game's going to be ugly. Points are going to be hard to come by here. Two anemic offenses just unable to move the ball. Down the field, one person I do like in this game to have a bounce-back performance is Chris Olave. Had the dud last week, just one reception for 5 yards. Derek Carr threw the ball 37 times for 127 yards. That is absolutely terrible efficiency. Alvin Kamara had 13 receptions for 34 yards. You don't see those type of stat lines very often. I know Chris Olave. He is not going to have 2 duds in a row. I also expect Derek Carr to be significantly healthier this week than he was last week. Patriots defense are without Christian Gonzalez, their best corner. Also without Matthew Judon, their best pass rusher as well. Both of them likely suffered season-ending injuries. Chris Olave is going to bounce back today.
I absolutely love Chris Olave. This game, like the guy said, not so much. David said, I love this show because it's all positive. Thanks, Coach. How about thanks to the crew? We're all positive all the time moving forward. Hopefully, you guys took down our new schedule and understand what we're trying to accomplish. All right? It's all good for everybody. Now, last 1 o'clock game. And this has been a team that through the first couple of weeks have cashed for me pretty nicely. The Ravens laying 4.5 on the road at Pittsburgh, the Steelers. The total sitting at 38.5. And we have another situation, AB. I got to come right back to you, of a young quarterback who's been playing not so good football, and he now has his back against the wall today. How do you think Kenny Pickett will respond?
I think Kenny Pickett's going to respond with a pick. That's exactly how he's going to respond. We're taking him to throw an interception. No fly zone is open for him to look. What we need, we don't necessarily need it, but what we want is Baltimore to get a lead and force the Steelers offense to play from behind throughout this game, because look at what the Steelers did last week. All right. Got blown out. Didn't look good at all. You're going to see the defense trying to make plays. You're going to see the offense trying to make plays. They're going to have to play aggressive. And that generally doesn't work out well. So, yeah, Kenny Pickett, interception, mark it down.
See, I love the Kenny Pickett play. And, counselors, I come to you. The number I don't like, as the Bills just finally scored a touchdown with 4:08 to play, and Proppy, it is Stephon Diggs. No, Davis.
Wow.
Davis.
Okay.
Gabe Davis just scored, and they're probably going to go for 2. It's 18-13. 4:08 to go in the fourth quarter. So the number I don't like, see it, is 4.5. If it was 3, I'd be banging the Ravens all day. But at 4.5, I just don't know what to do. Talk to me.
Way too many points, Coach. And by the way, way too much time for the Bills. When this was 18-7, I was going to pipe in and interrupt somebody and say, hey, this game is not over. Jags are going to jag. So stay tuned on that one. But as far as this game, listen, 4.5 is just too many points. I mean, that's the bottom line. This is a division game. Yeah, the Steelers are banged up on both sides of the ball. Don't forget Deontay Johnson is still out. Pickett's injured. On the defensive side of the ball, they have some injuries too. I like what Lamar Jackson and them are doing. I do think they'll probably cover. But to me, there's no way I'm putting money on the Ravens on the road in a division game. These games are usually close, and I don't like to play that trend narrative. But in this case, I see no incentive to bet the Ravens at this number.
Okay, very good. Real quickly, they called the touchdown back penalty. Next play, he throws another touchdown pass. There's another flag on the play, but I think it's going to be on the defense. So I think this touchdown is going to count. Crazy, absolute bananas. So Proppy, I'm coming to you, Proppy. Relax, baby. I got
Okay. I'm fired up, Coach. I'm fired up.
I know you are. Floor is yours.
I couldn't agree more with Cousin Sia and AB here. AB on Kenny Pickett to throw a pick. Kenny Pickett is the worst starting quarterback in the NFL that has Derek Ritter as a quarterback. Unbelievable how telegraphed his delivery and how slow it is. Throws across his body, mechanically makes so many mistakes. Takes him 8 seconds to load up to throw a pass. So absolutely love that look from AB. As far as this game is concerned, I agree. Couldn't agree more with Sia. For whatever reason, Mike Tomlin gets his team extremely motivated every time they play the Ravens. 4.5 points is way too much. These games are always like 9-6, and I expect that to be the case. A ton of defense here, just low scoring, ugly football, grind the clock, get 3 or 4 yards per down if they can. So, yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think the under is a great look here.
I also, and I know it's not the right number, by the way, horrible 2-point conversion, not good, 18-13, 4 minutes to go in the game there with the Bills. I put the Ravens into a teaser. And the reason I did that is because I just wanted to get them as an underdog. I didn't care about the number. I just needed them at a place where they could win the game. And that's the only way that I could think about doing it. So I don't know if it's the right play, but that's what I did, getting them plus 2.5. And I teased them with the Texans and got the Texans up to 8.5, which I felt really good about too. All right. So we've decided to divide the show into two. We've just crossed the bottom of the hour, 12:30. Here are the early game plays. You don't think my guys are doing work? They've 2 slates. So there are our early plays. Take a screenshot. Take a look at it. We'll leave it up there for a couple of minutes as we move into the late games, at 4:05 Eastern. And this one is very interesting, Proppy, and I'm going to start with you because this is your squad. This is your team. Eagles laying 4.5 in L.A., 60 miles from where I'm sitting right now to take on the Rams. How healthy is Matthew Stafford? How much will Puka get in the mix today? He's had 39 catches through 4 games. It's such an interesting matchup, but you're going back, Proppy, to Old Faithful, to a tight end that we know shows up every single week. Who am I talking about?
Yeah, we're talking about Dallas Goedert, Coach. Love him over 33.5 receiving yards. The number's currently 34.5. Very comfortable playing it there. It's been a rough start for Dallas Goedert, but there's a lot to be encouraged by. He has elite route participation. He is running a route on nearly every single Jalen Hurts drop back, which you absolutely love to see. He's on the field. That's more than you can ask for, more than most players in the NFL can say. So we absolutely love his route participation. The Rams have also been a significant tight end funnel. They're giving up a ton of production to opposing tight ends, getting a significant discount on this number as well. Typically, this is in the mid to high 40s here, but because of the slow start, this number is suppressed. Last but not least, it has been a talking point all week for this Eagles team. Nick Sirianni, their head coach, has talked about getting Dallas Goedert more involved in this offense. There's just ebbs and flows over the course of the season. I think that is honestly the biggest indicator as to me why his production has been down. I don't think it's schematic. I just think there's just natural ups and downs. So I love Dallas Goedert getting a heavy discount over 33.5 yards today.
I love when we're talking ebbs and the flows. By the way, EC in this game is on Jake Elliott over 1.5 field goals, minus 125. AB, you're just going around the NFL today. And if I just was from Mars and I just watched the Rams their last game, and you said, what's the one thing that would come in the way Matthew Stafford is throwing it right now? I'd say an interception because he's floating a lot of balls. That's my analysis. What's yours?
Yeah, look, I don't have to say anything further. You nailed it right there. Look, the Rams have been a nice surprise, all right? They're playing much better than we all thought that they would. And this game is going to be really fun. I can't wait to watch it. Both quarterbacks here are liable to put up touchdowns and turnovers. But Matthew Stafford is going to put one in the air because the Rams can't trust the run game as much as Sean McVay generally would like to. It's generally a very conservative offense, but they're having to throw more. And if you look at this Eagles defense, that's kind of what is missing with this Eagles team, is that not only would they start quickly offensively scoring points, specifically touchdowns in the first quarter, but they would generally force the other team to turn the ball over. And they haven't really done it all that much this year. I think you're going to see a defense that comes out aggressive today, and especially with Matthew Stafford putting the ball in the air probably more than they want to. Yeah, it's a good recipe for an interception.
I think your analysis is spot on. It's also why I think this leads to the overseer, because when you talk about the weapons on both sides of the football, you got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith on one side. Then you got Puka, who's becoming a superstar. And word is on the street that Cooper Kupp, is he going to be active today? Yes?
Mm-hmm.
That changes everything when we're talking about this game. What does it change for you from a fantasy standpoint and also a betting standpoint?
It's interesting because from a fantasy standpoint, especially from a DFS standpoint, you don't really know who to play on the Rams side because you have Coop and Nakua in here. Like, it kind of freezes they freeze each other out because they're priced so high in DFS. But this is such an interesting game. I don't know that I'd be looking at the over, but I do like it. I think I like the Rams a little bit more. If you can get this at 4.5, I see Dan Boyle in the chat saying that. I know a lot of our very own experts are on the Phillies, are on the Eagles. And I get that, like, they're definitely the better team, but I'm not so sure they're going to be able to stop the Rams, especially with Cooper Kupp back. I just think Stafford's going to be able to matriculate this ball down. As far as the over is concerned, I also think that Jalen Hurts and company will have success through the air, but also through the ground. The Rams allowing 4.37 yards per carry. That's pretty significant. And if the Eagles decide to keep their defense off the field and just kind of like slowly go down the field with a lot of DeAndre Swift, it wouldn't surprise me at all. So I'm leaning towards the Rams here, and that's it.
Interesting. Probably normally you will tell us that it's going to be either an A.J. Brown day or a Devontae Smith day. And against the Washington Commanders, they just barely got out of it with a 3-point win. Is it going to be both guys today, or as usual, is it going to be one of the two?
Yeah, tough to say which one. I do think, as far as if you're looking at early season targets, target share, target profile, definitely looks like A.J. Brown is the focal point of this offense. Just absolutely elite numbers across the board. A lot of metrics, he's first overall. So A.J. Brown's having a phenomenal season. I think that's going to continue today. I think it's just going to be some deep shots for Devontae Smith. But I like this Eagles. I like the Eagles in this spot quite a bit. I know the Rams, I think that they can make the Rams one-dimensional. The Eagles have an elite run defense. Kieran Williams, who I'm a fan of, has been somewhat inefficient. I think the Eagles are going to force the Rams to throw a bunch. I think the Rams will be successful moving the ball through the 20s, but I think the Eagles will hold up well. I like this spot for them. So, yeah, I'm on the Eagles here. I like them to cover, even though it's a tough road match.
All right. Eagles 4.5, once again, is the number there. Now, Calvin Ridley, thank you, Joe. Long catch down the sidelines. So the Jags, 3:04 to go in the fourth quarter, timeout on the field. They're up 5. They're inside of field goal range, however, so we'll keep our eye on that. Now, this next game, it was going to be my TikTok lock of the week until I saw my man, the counselor. And he said, this is my dog of the week. So we don't need to double up. I went and found something else that's still coming in the show, I might add. But, counselor, I've got to start with you because I don't like this play from you. I love this play from you. Start us off.
Yeah, I'm really surprised this didn't drop down to 2.5. And honestly, so the money seemed to still be on Cincinnati. It could have gone up to 3.5. Maybe it does before kickoff. But I found this. I put it on SportsLine at +100. So you're getting even money on +3. And listen, we know the Arizona Cardinals have been competitive in every game this season. Yes, it got away from them a little bit in the 49ers game, but they were a drop touchdown from covering in that one too. I think they could easily have 3 wins on the season. Cincinnati, on the other hand, like they had no shot at 3 wins. They've been really bad. They're lucky to have 1. Joe Burrow is very clearly still banged up. He can't move around in the pocket, which for a quarterback like Joe Burrow is a very, very important thing. And their defense, the Cincinnati Bengals defense, they're not really stopping anybody against the run. And their secondary was really ravaged in free agency. They've got some injuries too. I trust Josh Dobbs enough. I trust James Conner enough. Marquise Brown, Michael Wilson, Zach Ertz enough to win this game. But if you're giving me the +3 at even money, I'm just going to go ahead and take that.
You're damn right. And I might even buy a point or a 1.5 just to secure myself a little bit. I cannot believe this is not closer to a pick 'em. I'm with you, Sia. By the way, quick question, AB. Who did you say you had on the Jags in your fantasy today?
Yeah, it's old Travis Etienne sitting here nicely, CBS Sports with 35 points.
Yeah, he just scored again for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So it is now 25-13, 2:56 to go. And when the Bills are on the road or out of the playoffs in January, they can look at this dud and say, oh, that's one of the reasons why. Terrible. Now, EC is on Joe Burrow over 250.5 passing yards, and we have a showdown on that. I'm on the under in that play. He also likes Zach Ertz over 29.5 receiving yards, who dropped a touchdown with 8 seconds to go last week, and he is dead to me. Classic EC, make picks just to tick me off. So, Proppy, let me come to you on this game. We have a side on the Cardinals. That's clear. But how are you handicapping this game?
I like the side quite a bit on the Cardinals. I think we have two teams headed in very different directions as far as this season is concerned. The Cardinals have been the better football team. I think the Bengals are merely getting these points because of their historical acumen or their historical results here. Cardinals this year have been a better football team than the Bengals. Can the Bengals win? Absolutely. They could be more up for this game. Joe Burrow could have made a significant leap from looking hurt, looking less than 100% to being much healthier this week. But yes, I think on a neutral field, the Cardinals win this game 7 times out of 10 if these two teams play each other this season. So I like the Cardinals quite a bit here. As far as props are concerned, I think James Conner, we're going to see a heavy dose of him. Love what I've seen out of Josh Dobbs. I think he'll be mobile today, like his rushing yards. He's been, again, dual threat quarterback all season. He's getting better every week. Love Hollywood Brown. He looks like he's very comfortable with Josh Dobbs. Their chemistry is growing. And the rookie Michael Wilson, I like him quite a bit. So I'm all over the Cardinals today as well.
Clearly, you're all over the Cardinals. By the way, the Bills, 2 plays all the way down to the 3 already. The problem is they don't have any timeouts left. So we'll see if they score, if they can get the onside kick. AB, let me come to you because clearly all 3 of the rest of us love Arizona today. Are you going to make it 4 for 4?
I lean to it. The problem is this. You don't know what you're going to get from Cincinnati. At any moment, they can go off. At any moment. But when the hell's that moment going to be? I don't know. And I don't trust it, right? Now, look, people laugh when I said before the season started that Josh Dobbs is a great locker room guy. Former quarterback at Tennessee. I'm telling you, I've seen this guy play since he was in high school. He is a legitimate leader of men in that locker room. And the Cardinals and people believe in him, man. They really, really do. Now, the problem is that they could do some bonehead stuff as well. It's a complete stay away from me. There's nothing that I trust in this game. So I defer to the guys here. Yeah, nothing for me.
All right, so we're going to go with the Cardinals as a show. And Josh Allen has decided he's going to wait until the end of the 4th quarter to play good football today. So he just scored a touchdown. And anybody that's on the over like me is so angry right now.
Was that, Coach, was that a rushing touchdown?
It was, yes.
All right, so we took on the future show. Josh Allen's rushing touchdown number this season was 6.5. So low. Like, wow. I mean, that guy runs in so many touchdowns. So
I wonder where he's at. We're going to have to take a look at that. We've already cashed a few of those, by the way.
Yep.
The futures are always hard to remember that we have sometimes. We got to make a list of them. All right, it's 25-20, but the Buffalo has no timeouts left. So I think they can get the ball back, but because they have the 2-minute warning. So we'll see how this one plays out. All right, this next one, also fascinating. And so many times those of you want to be negative, and you're like, Coach, I hate this game. Why do you got to talk about it? But sometimes you may not see the opportunity, but it could be a
opportunity, Coach.
You're damn right. It could be a opportunity. And that's clearly what we have in this game. Did you have something, maybe? I'm sorry.
Well, no. I didn't want to interrupt. I have a way to look at this game. Go to props as you were going to, but I have a question, and Sia is the absolute perfect. I'm just going to ask it. I have the 49ers defense, all right, on my fantasy team. However, I almost, and I'm still thinking of grabbing the Broncos defense, okay, because I think that they could stifle New York. And my take on the game is that I think it's going to be hideous. This is a good underplay type of game. So to bring the fantasy aspect back into it as well, and not to ask questions and, step right in front of you, Coach, Sia, the Broncos defense, thoughts? Like, where do you sit with this?
I think most people would be like, what are you talking about? The Broncos defense is deplorable. However, to your point, they've got a lot of guys coming back, and they do get to face Zach Wilson. But I kind of like the Jets in this game, which we're going to find out in a second. And I think, listen, Dallas Cowboys offense is fine, but when they play the Niners, they're not fine. So I would go with the upside of the Niners defense.
All right.
I agree. By the way, the Bills that close to getting it was close. Oh, it was close.
Oh, the outside kick?
Onside kick. They
Oh, wow.
They
Wow.
should have gotten it, and then it like squirted through and went out of bounds. But
Man.
it was close. Proppy, coming back to you because Sia. No, I'll stay with Sia because Sia, you have a play in this game. Why don't you go ahead and give it to us while you're after that analysis, please?
Yeah, I like the Jets plus 2.5 here. I think they're getting too many points. This should probably be a pick 'em. I know they're going on the road. I know like Zach Wilson hasn't cured all his failures just because he had a good game against the Chiefs, but I don't know that they need to rest on Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson should be fine against the Denver defense, but I think this is a Breece Hall game. I actually like Breece Hall's prop of over 60.5 rushing yards as well. But I love this Jets defense. And even though the Jets defense has a few injuries that these wide receivers for Denver can exploit, every time we're expecting something from the Denver wide receivers and Russell Wilson, they always fall flat. Now you're getting a Jets front and a Jets secondary that you have to face, and you're favored. I just don't think the Broncos are for real at all. And I think the Jets look way hungrier. You got some narratives built here with the whole Hackett, Sean Payton thing. I think the Jets are out for blood, and I think they're going to capitalize. I like them to flat out win, but if you're going to give me 2.5 points, I'll take that too.
I am so glad you brought up the whole Nathaniel Hackett, Denver Jets, Sean Payton narrative. I wonder how many times, is that a CBS game today? I think it probably is. How many times CBS will show those two in the same split screen? But C also says something, Proppy, that's very, very important. The Jets are being more confident now based off of what they just did against the Chiefs, especially Zach Wilson. And he had one of his wide receivers came out and said, stop blaming him. We need to be better. And that same guy is who you like today. Who am I talking about?
Coach, I don't like him. I love him. We're talking about Garrett Wilson, over 58.5 receiving yards. This is one of my favorite props of this week. Garrett Wilson's numbers, if you look at his target profile, which is his route participation, which is his air yard share, are absolutely elite. The problem has been Zach Wilson. If Aaron Rodgers was playing quarterback right now, Garrett Wilson would be atop of many receiving categories. But Zach Wilson showed some signs of life to me last week. I was encouraged with his performance against the Chiefs. I think his confidence is going to be up, and we're getting the matchup of matchups against this Broncos secondary that has been historically bad. They rank as the worst secondary in the NFL this season by a country mile in every single defensive passing metric. They are particularly susceptible to speed on the back end, which Garrett Wilson possesses. So I think Garrett Wilson's going to get behind this defense numerous times. I love laddering him. I love his alt totals. I like him to potentially lead all wide receivers in receiving yards today if Zach Wilson can show a modicum of accuracy, especially with the deep ball. So I am all over Garrett Wilson. I do like Breece Hall quite a bit as well.
I think we all need to remember not to underestimate confidence in a young quarterback. Look at C.J. Stroud, confident, playing good. Anthony Richardson, confident, playing good. Bryce Young, not confident, not playing good. Zach Wilson, he got confidence last week. Something to point out today, and I think all the guys absolutely nailed it. Now, the team he got that confidence in is our last play of the day. It is the Kansas City Chiefs, and right before our very eyes, they're 3-1. They're right where they're supposed to be, but how they're getting there is a completely different story. Patrick Mahomes, clearly, Proppy, is not 100%. So Uncle Dave thinks they're going to lean on the run game today. Isaiah Pacheco, over 13.5 rush attempts, minus 105. That is from the prop show on Friday. You also like another player from the Chiefs today to not have a huge game. Don't need a huge game. Just need a solid game. Start us off.
Talking about rookie Rashee Rice, Coach. Love him to go over 32.5 receiving yards. So far, Patrick Mahomes has had an incredibly spread out target distribution. They're platooning wide receiver. There's a bunch of guys playing around 40-50% of the snaps, but Rashee Rice's role in this offense continues to grow. He continues to be the most reliable wide receiver for Patrick Mahomes, and his underlying stats, his metrics, which you really like to look at in these situations, are really, really good. He leads all rookie wide receivers in yards per route run. He's the first read, I think, on 22% of his targets, 27% of his targets, which is a huge number. So that tells me the Chiefs are making a concerted effort to get him the football, and his role on this offense is continuing to grow, and they are getting nothing from Sky Moore. And he's running the majority of his routes out of the slot where Sky Moore works. So I think they're going to continue to scale back Sky Moore's role, and as a result of that, Rashee Rice's role is going to grow. Plus, it's very advantageous to run routes out of the slot. So love Rashee Rice both this week and the rest of the season. I think he ends up being the Chiefs or Mahomes' secondary target behind Travis Kelce, who still is not even a full-time player in this offense, whether or not he's not 100% or there's conditioning issues. But Travis Kelce is only playing around 65% of the team's snaps. So absolutely love Rashee Rice both again this week and long term.
Somebody definitely needs to stand up in that role as the number 2 guy. Lori says, I love it when Proppy gets animated. It's just like when Sia says, furthermore, there are little hints that they really like a play. And I mean really like a play. And when I watched Kirk Cousins sitting at a baseball game this past week, AB, he's just chilling, just bought tickets online, him and his family, just sitting in the general admission, just like anybody else. But he's not anybody else. He's the quarterback for their football team, the Minnesota Vikings, who are home today. Is he going to play mistake-free?
Oh, I'm sorry, Coach. Did you need an explanation of why Kirk Cousins is going to throw an interception? Because Kirk Cousins is going to throw an interception. All right, look, there's nothing else that needs to be said. And here's the best part about it, all right? You have an actual better opportunity when he's in the red zone. That's when the interceptions come. Look, this Vikings team, they don't trust the run game. They are throwing it all over the field. He'll put up good numbers. Look, and I like Kirk Cousins, all right? I really do. But like I said, he's throwing a pick. So back to you.
Yeah, back to me, the same guy who just screwed up. The guys that are like brothers to him. Proppy says furthermore. Sia says for the record. What am I talking about? My apologies, gentlemen. My apologies. Damn. Furthermore, Sia, how are you going to take this to the finish line for this game? Because nobody has said the Chiefs yet.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to say the Chiefs either. I mean, I think this is going to be a back and forth, maybe a last possession game. It wouldn't surprise me if the Chiefs covered. Certainly wouldn't surprise me if they won, but it wouldn't surprise me if Minnesota won. The Chiefs certainly look vulnerable. I don't want to just go back to last week, but if Zach Wilson is carving you up with his arm, I can't imagine what Kirk Cousins, Addison, Jefferson, Hawkinson, Osborne are going to do in Minnesota today. The one thing I will say is Minnesota does like to blitz a lot, but they keep 2 safeties high most of the time. They blitz, but they don't like to get beat deep. I do think a completions prop with Patrick Mahomes makes sense. And furthermore, I'll tell you, and for the record, I'll tell you that I do think it could be a bounce back Kelce game because of that defensive style. Maybe Rashee Rice gets it. I like Rashee Rice too. I'm playing a lot of him in DFS, but maybe he gets his touches. But I think Kelce is going to get way more touches than people think because of that underneath and those 2 high safeties. I think the safety outlet, like we're used to seeing with Travis Kelce over the last 5-6 years, I think we're going to see that a little bit more this week. But also Mahomes pass completions like that because of the coverage.
And also be very careful. Joshua says, how can anybody bet against the Chiefs? They win a lot of games. They do not cover a lot of games. Going all the way back to last year, I think they're the worst against the spread team in the entire league, or really close to it. They just don't cover because they don't care about covering. See end of game last week against the Jets. It still hurts. Now, you guys know we like to end every single one of our specialty shows. Asking my guy is the number one most important thing. So take a look at the light games in white there. Those are our afternoon plays today. So take a look. We're going to leave them up as I go around because use this information for today or into the future. We do this a lot. Knowledge is power. We say it all the time. So, Proppy, what's the number one most important thing in your mind you're looking forward to today?
I can't wait to see this Miami backfield. I was hoping to talk about him a little more, but Devon A-Chain, the rookie running back, he is unbelievable. 33 touches for well over 350 yards this season, number one in every single running back metric that exists. Obviously, he's a regression candidate, but that doesn't mean you regress the league average. Just not easy to sustain his unbelievable production that he's had thus far this season. I think his role in Miami's offense is going to continue to grow. He has an incredible matchup against the Giants defense that's just as bad against the pass as they are against the run. So I want to see how many carries, how many touches he ends up getting today.
And we say it all the time. Once in a while, you get that 2 or 3 game run that you can get a really good number before the books catch up with that player. This sounds like it's one of those situations. Sia, talk to me.
Yeah, I think this is a really good evaluation of sample size and recency bias. What I mean by that is look at my 3 against the spread plays that I have on SportsLine. The Falcons, if you look at the last 2 games, they look awful. And if you look at the last 2 games for the Texans, they look great. Why would I possibly be taking the Falcons? Because I don't think they're that bad. I don't think the 2 weeks are indicative of who they are. The Jets plus 2.5, we saw them kind of rebound, and we've seen the Broncos be pretty bad overall. Like, how does that turn out? Is the sample size enough to evaluate both of these teams? Then finally, the Cardinals plus 3, competitive in each game, and then the Bengals on the other side look absolutely deplorable. You know, is that what we're going to see from the Bengals the rest of the season? And if so, then this is an easy Cardinals plus 3. But again, I might be a subject to recency bias as well. So I'm really curious to see how some of these narratives play out.
You know, Proppy, I got to say I'm very, very disappointed in you. Very disappointed. And since you didn't step up, I guess I'm going to have to.
Let's go, Coach. Let's go.
Texans plus 2.5. Love them today. See ya. Are you in or are you out?
Kind sir, I took the Atlanta Falcons money line for a reason at minus 125 when it was a palatable number 2 days ago. Now that money line number is probably at like minus 135. My play is my play.
You just notice how he just talked all the way around the word no.
That's why he's my in-house counsel.
I was going to say, that's a great little lawyer trade.
I would have made it a money line showdown, but nobody even asked. I would have done money line with no juice. Oh, interesting. Very interesting. Look, he's just sitting there. He wants no part of this. He wants no part of this.
I'm waiting. I'm down. I'm just telling you that I took the money line. That's my pick on sports.
I'll make it money line, no juice.
Yeah, of course.
I got
juice.
Texans.
All right, yeah.
What a gentleman.
Straight up.
Let's play the music.
It's gonna be a showdown.
That might be for me, actually. That might be for me. AB, bring us home.
Yeah, the New York Giants, they are stuck in no man's land. Their defense can't stop anyone, and their offense, nothing can get better. I don't know what the Giants do. I'm fascinated to see if they play more aggressively on defense today or if they play more aggressively on offense. I don't know, but this team is in a bad place, man.
I hope Brian Daboll can control his emotions today because it could be kind of fun to watch those two teams and that particular sideline. By the way, the Jags got it done 25-20. What a big victory. What a big 2 victories they had over there. They're going to keep playing overseas. Why would they stop? They win almost every single time. All right, a quick reminder. We are back live tonight, primetime early edge at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time with me and the usual crew, counting down to what I think, at least on paper, is the best Sunday night game of the entire season. It's the Cowboys on the road in San Francisco to take on the 49ers. We will see you then. So with all that being said, there's only one thing left to do, and I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these tickets straight to the pay window. For my entire crew, Lembo, Counselor, Proppy, AB, Snake, always hovering around. You just never know. You just never know. And I'm simply the coach, trying to keep this train on said track. We grind for you so we can win with you. It's truly what we're all about right here. Good luck today at the Early Edge.